This is Sunday, July 13th. There are 10 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2025. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog.
VANUHTEE go.
Oh my god, I love LiveJournal and my LiveJournal loves me. Current mood is hyperactive, current music, Refuse 73. I love the color scheme, it's pink and purple, it looks green.
Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, James Riley, and joining me on the podcast tonight, as always, Carrie Dixon.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us.
And also joining us from the blog, Aaron Tapkin.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, welcome to SDConCast. We'll take your comments and questions throughout the show. You can send them in by tweeting us at SD_comic_con. Use the hashtag SDConCast, or we will be keeping an eye on the YouTube live chat if you wish to comment there. So we are going to get started. First, I want to shout out Kenneth in the chat. Good to see you. That's someone I play card games with over at Kingslayer. So that's cool that they're joining in this because he goes to Comic-Con too. So it's always fun seeing people
like a crossover of your
in both of my worlds.
Of all your hobbies.
All right, guys. So this is it. We're going to cover Saturday and Sunday of the schedule. If you want to hear our breakdown of Thursday and Friday, all you have to do is go to our other videos, and you can check out the YouTube video we did. We will also be posting that as a podcast for you to listen to. So go ahead and head over to our podcasting platform that you love, and it's probably going to be there sometime soon. Is there anything we need to cover before we get into schedule, Carrie?
The only thing that I wanted to address is for anybody who did not read our Twitter thread last night, is we are pretty sure there are 2, and I think 3 missing Amazon Prime Video panels. So Boom Studios keeps mentioning that there's, like, they keep promoting that there is a Butterfly panel, which is an upcoming show on Prime Video. Hold on, I'm pulling up the exact time that it is. Okay, they keep saying that is Friday at 1:30 p.m. in room 5AB. That is not on the schedule, but there is a gap then. And then I am positive that there is another Prime Video panel for another show. I'm not allowed to say what, but I reconfirmed yesterday that, like, it is there and it does have a panel on Friday. And we're pretty sure that that's the 11:15 to 12:15 missing panel slot in room 60E. And then if there's 2 missing Prime Video panels, why could there not be 3? Because there is also a gap at 3:45 to 4:45 in Ballroom 20 on Friday, which sure makes sense for Gen V.
Is that the most logical one?
Yeah, I mean, they've got Gen V on the trolleys. Like, we're all shocked that there's not currently a Gen V panel on the schedule. So basically, what I'm saying is, I am 99% positive, like, there are at least 2 missing Prime Video panels, and I feel fairly confident that if they're missing 2, that they're probably missing a 3rd.
Well, they were all really busy going to Jeff Bezos' wedding, I bet. Maybe they just didn't get the information to Comic-Con in time.
Maybe. So anyway, I just wanted to say, like, I think there are more TV show panels coming.
A few more, maybe.
Yeah.
Either someone didn't hit a button, or they told Comic-Con
someone didn't submit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or somebody forgot to turn in, like, a panel description or something somewhere. So, but I would definitely keep an eye out for that, because, like I said, we literally reconfirmed yesterday, like, hey, is this panel still happening? And I was told yes. So
there you go. All right. I think we just get started, right?
Yeah, let's start it.
All right. So for everyone, just the general thing before we start, what we're doing is we're going through each of the bigger rooms and reading off the list of panels, and then talking about the room flow and what we expect to be maybe blockages, where there's going to be lots of people, where it's going to be easy to come and go. This is for getting in the room. This is not for being in the front row. This is nothing like that. This is just being able to see the panels you want to see somewhere in the room. So we're going to get started, and Aaron is going to kick us off in room 7AB for Saturday.
7AB. 7AB holds about 480 people. And they are starting off the day at 10 a.m. with Boom Studios' Slaughterverse, expanding the world of something is killing the children, which is, I mean, the Slaughterverse has to be their best-selling stuff right now. It's been going on since 2019, and they're going to have creator James Tinney in the fourth. He'll be there to talk about the upcoming 50th issue and everything going on in the Slaughterverse. After that, we're going to keep the comic stuff going. 11, let's focus on Matt Kent, up and beyond Matt Kent.
Yeah, Aaron, something just happened with your audio.
Oh, is it gone?
Now it's
I
fine.
hear you. Yeah.
All right. I better not move. Okay. Do you want me to start over completely or just with 11 o'clock?
With 11.
All right. Yeah. 11 o'clock. Focus on Matt Kent, Flux House and Beyond. This is New York Times best-selling author Matt Kent, comic creator extraordinary. He's done Management Department H. He's also one of the creators with Keanu Reeves of Berserker. This is his own print. Flux House is his own publishing imprint. He's going to be talking about everything going on with Flux House. After that, from noon to 1 p.m., it's the Art of Marvel Snap. If you play any Marvel Snap and you like the artwork, this is a good one to see. It's going to have one of the artists, Adi Granoff. It's also going to have Brett Bean. They both have some cards, but they're going to be talking about how they make all thousands and thousands of cards in Snap and talking about what's coming next. From 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., the creator economy, owning your own vision in modern media. This is going to be talking about publishers, creatives, and the audience, and how it's changed and how it's evolved, and how you're not just doing one thing when you're a creator. You're also doing marketing. You're also doing like everything else. Let's see, from 2 to 3, spotlight on Nick Dragotta. Nick is the artist. He's a special guest this year, but he's the artist behind Absolute Batman, which is one of the best-selling DC books probably of all time. He's going to be talking about some of his favorite pages that he's done and his where he got his vision from for the Batman design. From 3 to 4:30, Scott Shaw, Oddball Comics Live. This is Scott Shaw is one of the main guys from I mean, he's been there, I think, every year, hasn't he? He's one of those who never misses it. He's been doing this since 1978. He's going to be joined with his pal Jim Roche, and who is a producer of Svengoolie, which we'll hear more about later. But Scott Shaw is a very funny guy. Always puts on a great panel. From 4:30 to 5:30, it's The Essential Peanuts by Charles M. Schultz. Chip Kidd and Mark Evanier are going to be talking about the history of Charles Schultz and all his contributions to the modern landscape and his legacy and his artistic genius. 5:30 to 6:30, funding your project in today's economy. This is going to be some of the gentlemen that are from Zoop crowdfunders, Zoop, Jordan Plosky, Eric Moss, and they're going to be talking with some industry veterans, including Mark Ditko, the Ditkoverse, and legend, who's also nephew of Steve Ditko, but they're going to be talking about some of the future projects they have that they're using crowdfunding for. 6:30 to 7:30, From Page to Puppet. This is really exciting because a blog friend of ours, Jamie Bresler, with the Jim Henson Company, is going to be on this. There's also going to be several Sesame Street people. Yes. Plus, we love puppets.
We love puppets. We love Jamie. We love both those things.
And after that, it's 7:30 to 8:30, Meet TV's Svengoolie and the Sven Squad. I think this is the first time the Svengoolie stuff has been to Comic-Con.
It says make their Comic-Con debut in the title.
All right, good.
So, yeah.
So yeah, good for them. If you don't know anything about Svengoolie, it's one of those legendary late night horror shows where they would play different things, and it feels like that kind of stuff has gone by the wayside, but they keep it going, and they're kind of the only ones that are keeping it going right now. So this is going to be them talking all about that, and they've been doing. It says he's been on MeTV since 2011. That's amazing.
It's crazy.
Yes. And that closes out the day.
So this room holds around 500 people, more or less.
Almost, yeah.
Do we think anything actually fills this room? I don't.
The only two things I can think of would be Nick talking about Absolute Batman, and then Scott Shaw. I mean, Scott, he does have a big, like Mark Evanier, he's got a big following of people that like to go to all of his panels. But everything else, it seems like it would be people be coming and going, and it would be fairly easy to get in.
Yeah. So what that means is basically if one of these panels sounds fun to you, the good news is that you don't have to line up super early. If you're worried, maybe show up 15 minutes early, but I truly think all of these are going to be pretty easy to get into.
Seems like it to me too.
Yeah. Or do the classic drive-by / walk-by, peek in, see what it looks like.
All right. Well, let's move right along. James?
Room 60E, seating 884, roughly, maybe specifically. We don't know. And it kicks off at 10 a.m. with creating the immersion of Universal Epic Universe. And Fandom's Emma Fyfe will host several of the masterminds behind the all-new Epic Universe theme park as they talk about how they brought some of it to life. So that's pretty cool. Everyone seems to be loving Epic Universe, so it's going to be cool to hear people talk.
But this is in way too small of a room. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but yeah.
At 11:15, DC Comics Metropolis and Beyond. And this is basically a bunch of DC comic Superman creators talking about the DC Comics. And then the Batman version at 12:30, DC Comics Gotham City is next. It's all the Batman DC comic people talking about Batman comics. And then at 1:45, this one is interesting to me. This is Overpower Rising, bringing Skybound, Top Gal, and Edgar Rice Burroughs to CCGs. So way back in 1995, Fleer launched Overpower, which is a trading card game or a collectible card game. And a few years later, it folded. And recently, there's a few people that bought the IP and now are producing it again with companies like Skybound and others. So this is them talking about it, and anyone who goes will get a Overpower Invisible CCG card featuring Philip Tan artwork, and a few signed versions will be given away cards will be given away as well. Then following that, we have at 3 o'clock Spotlight on Frank Miller. So he's the industry legend who has basically been in comics forever and does some of the biggest stuff ever, like Sin City and Dark Knight Returns and a few other things, just a few. At 4:15 to 5:15, we have 40th anniversary of Studio Ghibli, and that is Hirokatsu Kihara, who was production coordinator in the 80s. Tells the story behind the establishment of Studio Ghibli while showing various pieces of original and behind-the-scenes art. From 5:30 to 6:30, we have Making Mavericks Media, creating art outside the system. This is moderated by Kevin Smith and features a bunch of people like Mark Bernardin, Carla Reyes, Tiffany Smith, and Mega Ran and Cheyenne Uwulu discussing crowdfunding and financial creativity to basically produce your whatever you want it to produce. From 6:45 to 7:45, we have the X-Men Fandom Panel. It's the 6th annual panel. Features an all-star lineup of comic book writers, artists, voice actors, and entertainers, moderated by Chandler Poling and Chris Riley. At 8 to 9, we have Cyanide and Happiness, Stuff We Shouldn't Show. And that is featuring some producers, writers, directors, and creators of the show, showing some never-before-seen animations and doing a Q&A. At 10 to 11:15, this room goes long, we have Peacock's Twisted Metal Season 2 special advanced screening. They will be showing the first 2 episodes of Season 2. And I think it doesn't say that they will have any of the cast or anything there, but you never know what may happen at Comic-Con. But they are not listed as anyone attending. It's just they're going to be showing the 2 episodes. All right.
So this is the opposite of the last room. I think there's going to be several problems in this room.
Yes. So you say the Epic universe is going to be huge.
I think it is. I think there's more than 900 or so people that care about Universal. I mean, I feel like it's theme parks. Like everybody cares, and Epic is one of the hottest things right now, like in that world. So
Right.
I think that has been way too small of a room. I think, quite honestly, they could have easily put that in like 6 BCF. Like
Right.
it's somewhere much bigger.
And then the next 2 DC panels, these are comics panels that typically get a pretty large amount of people showing up. They haven't announced any giveaways, which is usually what will definitely increase the amount of people showing up. So we don't know. And also they don't list any of the artists and writers that will be there. So again, typically artists and writers will get people to show up if they know who's going to be there. But then Overpower, I don't know how many people will show up for this, since it is a 30-year-old game that is coming back. And I just don't know what the demand is for it.
Yeah.
But a giveaway will always bring in a few people. And
I
then
think it's super smart of them to be sort of starting with that Skybound stuff, given how really popular Invincible is, and
the end top panel.
yeah, and I think it's also good timing. I think that trading card games have had, as have had like a recent resurgence.
Yeah. It is a good time to enter back in.
Yep.
But then the biggest panel, I think, of the day possibly is Spotlight on Frank Miller at 3:00. So that's right in the middle of the day. So that's going to basically cause a logjam before and then clear the room after if there's no carryover.
It will, but X-Men fandom panel is always packed. There's always people who don't get into that. So I would not count that one out either.
So yeah, this is big, where the previous room was basically every panel coming and going. This is large chunks of people maybe sitting around for a panel or 2 extra, and then large chunks of people coming and going just a few times throughout the day.
So what that means, if you're watching, honestly, if it was me, if I wanted to go to any of these panels, like X-Men fandom, Frank Miller, or the Universal, like I would show up at least 90 minutes early, if not. I know you think Frank Miller is going to be the biggest panel of the day. I think Universal is. Truly, for Universal, like I would probably be there by 8. But
even if it is, the Frank Miller panel is the biggest problem of the day because it's right in the middle of the room.
Oh yes, for sure, it is.
So if you want to go to the X-Men panel, I would say, is that 2 panels? It's 2 panels after, technically 3 panels. There's 2 panels between Frank Miller and X-Men. I think you would be fine waiting for Frank Miller to end or getting there at the end of Frank Miller and then just getting through the line as people are coming and going for the other panels, the next 2 panels.
Yeah, I think so too.
I sort of feel bad for the Studio Ghibli people, the fans. Meaning, if they're wanting to see that, it makes me wonder if they need to.
I think the Studio Ghibli people just get there at the beginning of Frank Miller, and just wait it out, and you should be able to make it in. I mean, this depends on how many people decide that they want to show up extra early for X-Men. That's really the only deciding factor. And if it's going to be 800 people, then you're going to be out of luck if you wanted to see Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Well, and having Kevin Smith on that panel in between them too.
Right.
Real quick, I also just want to reiterate for anybody who did not listen to the first podcast. When we talk about times, our time is always if you just want to get in the room, not if you want to be up front, not if you want to be first in line, like if you literally just want to make it into the room.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, do we think that the Twisted Metal is going to be super crowded? I mean, it's 10 o'clock.
I don't think it will. It's 10 o'clock at night. There's a panel on Thursday, like with cast. I think most of the fans will be heading to that one to see Anthony Mackie and Stephanie Beatriz. Now, I do think you're right. Like, I think it's entirely possible that like somebody turns up, and that would be cool. But I just don't think that one will be hard to get into. Late night panels never are.
Yeah. All right. Next.
All right, on to 6A. So this room holds around 1,040. We start things off at 10 a.m. with Jazzwares, and it's exactly that. It's them giving a look into all their different brands like Pokemon, AEW, Star Wars, and more. At 11:15 is a sneak peek at the Toys That Made Us. So it's Nacelle talking about a brand new season of the Toys That Made Us, including the highly anticipated Polly Pocket episode. At 12:30 p.m. is Todd McFarlane, the legendary Todd McFarlane, in conversation, and it's basically just him and Jim Viscardi from Image Comics talking comics and the business and all kinds of stuff. At 1:45 p.m. is Marvel Comics Ultimate Universe, which has their editor-in-chief, C.B. Cebulski, with Will Moss, talking all about that. At 3 o'clock is Marvel Comics to Screen, which again has C.B. Cebulski, as well as Marvel Studios head of visual development, Brian Meinerding, and others as they talk about Marvel's first family's journey into the comics pages to the big screen. So basically, it's going to be like a behind the scenes into Fantastic Four. And I think this panel could definitely be really cool. And fans who stick around till the end get an exclusive comic book giveaway. Yep. So that's a big deal. At 4:15 p.m. is Project Hail Mary Audible Book Club, which is Audible talking about the Andy Weir audiobook for Project Hail Mary, and because that film is in Hall H earlier in the day with some very big names, which we will talk about here in a little bit, I think it is more than possible that some one or two of those people jump over to this panel. I think that feels very likely, personally. At 5:30 p.m. is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Organic Intelligence. The tomatoes are back and they're refried. So that will have the director of the new, I don't even know if this is a TV show or a movie, but it'll have that, as well as cast members Eric Roberts, David Kochner, and more. At 6:45 p.m. is the Hillywood Show, which they do like spoofs and parodies of like TV shows and movies, but they are getting ready to do Star Wars, and they will be presenting a look at that. At 8:30 p.m., we close out the day with the simulcast for the Masquerade, which is happening over in Ballroom 20. So, what do we think fills up in here? I think that Marvel Comics to Screen definitely good, especially when you add in the word giveaway.
And a Fantastic Four, which is out that weekend, so it's going to be a Fantastic Four comic of some kind.
Yeah.
I think that McFarlane, actually the Nacelle Toys That Made Us should do very well. I don't know if it's overly packed, being able to fit 1,000 people in, but I think the people that are showing up early for McFarlane may make that a little difficult. So if you want to see the Toys That Made Us, definitely show up during the Jazzwares panel. McFarlane's going to be packed.
Yeah.
The Marvel ones that they're giving away a comic in each one, those are going to be packed. Project Hail Mary probably will be packed, just because it's a buzz thing right now, and a lot of people will probably want to go and see it.
And I think a lot of people are also probably thinking what I am, which is, if like the cast and directors are over at Hall H, like they could pop over to here.
Yeah.
So if it was me, if I wanted to see the Marvel Comics to Screen panel, which I still think is the biggest one here for the day, like honestly, I would probably even show up like during Nacelle, because I have a feeling like if you're a fan of Todd McFarlane, you're probably staying for the next two panels anyway. Like I don't think there's going to be a lot of turnover in that three panels.
The comics people will stick around for all three. I mean, the only reason a few people will leave is if they have signings or some other thing that they have to get to. Otherwise, people will sit there. 400 or 500 people probably will easily be sitting there minimum through the entire thing for 3-4 panels.
I think so
For
too.
those like me who would try and make time to go to the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes panel, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a walk-in.
Yep.
I could be surprised because it is a San Diego homegrown movie.
I don't think you
And
will
there
be
is a
surprised.
puppet.
And there is a puppet. But still, it's definitely a smaller thing. That's a very niche thing, but I think it's going to be fun.
I would go just for David Koechner, though. I like him. So
Okay, well, basically, if you want to see any of those comics panels, I would be there. Honestly, I would say by 11:15, like when they start letting in for Nacelle. Sit through that, and then you get to see your panels.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we got next? We got room 6 BCF. Next seats over 2,100. And it kicks off at 10:30 with the wonderfully weird world of Gumball. And this is going to involve, is it going to say who's going to be there? It doesn't say anyone's going to be there specifically, but they're going to be talking about Gumball, the show, and it's coming to Hulu, and I think other streaming sites. So get ready for it. At 11:45, it is the annual favorite, Quick Draw, with Mark Evanier, Scott Shaw, Tom Richmond, Emma Steinkellner. I think that's it. Maybe some surprises. And of course, they will be drawing things very quickly for Mark. He will give them something to draw. They will draw it, and we get to laugh and have fun along with them. No Sergio this year, but they say that he may phone in. Then immediately following, the other Mark Evanier fun panel is Cartoon Voices 1 at 1 through 2:30. And he's going to have Greg Berger, Audrey Wasilewski, Fred Tatasciore, Jim Meskimen, Benny Latham, and Dana Gould. And that is a lot of fun, people doing voices on the Cartoon Voices panel. And you really don't need to explain it. It's fun people doing voices for an hour and a half and lots of fun.
It's awesome, and it's very popular.
At 2:45, we have Get Wrecked with Straw Hat Goofy Live. That is Juju Green, who is Straw Hat Goofy, hosts a live version of his Get Wrecked with Straw Hat Goofy podcast. It'll have some celebrities and filmmakers talking about their upcoming projects. At 4 p.m., the 25th anniversary of the X-Men with Tom DeSanto, who was the writer and producer of the X-Men series. And he celebrates the movie that started it all from 25 years ago.
And I do just want to point out that this one says he will screen never before seen personal video with Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, and the rest of the cast, which I think is cool.
That is cool. At 5:15, Jim Lee and Friends. And that features Jim Lee, who is, of course, the current DC Comics president. And he will have some of his friends along to just talk about stuff. And I think I'm missing something. Maybe, I don't know. No. Okay. 6:30. We have what is the name of this one? I think it got cut off.
I think it's Tapawingo.
Tapawingo. Okay.
That's how I'm saying it.
I thought there was more to it, but apparently not. And this is John Heder returns in the spiritual successor to Napoleon Dynamite. And this is going to have a ton of people. There's going to be cast and crew, including directors and stars. Just so many people on this list. Like even John Ratzenberger is going to be there. That's crazy. Gina Gershon, Billy Zane. Holy cow!
I know.
And it's like
he's like the last one mentioned. I'm like, he should be like number 2 on this list.
They buried the lead there, I feel like.
Wow. Agreed. Crazy. All right. So this is definitely a jam-packed panel. But they're going to be talking all about this new Tapawingo. Then at 9:15, Welcome to Derry. This is HBO bringing Andy Muschietti and Barbara Muschietti talking about the new show coming to HBO. And that's it. Busy day.
Yeah, very.
Definitely a busy day. So Quick Draw and Cartoon Voices are always packed to the gills.
Yep.
You want to make it into either of those, I would be there
when it opens.
Yeah, basically before Gumball starts.
Yeah.
Because there is always a very long line. And if you're going for quick draw, you're probably not leaving for cartoon voices.
No.
Outside of that, I feel like that X-Men panel could definitely have a bunch of people there, especially when you consider the next panel has Jim Lee.
It's funny. A bunch of people in the comments were like, I was doing other thing, but then I heard Billy Zane and now I'm interested.
Yeah.
That's the Top of Wingo panel. If you remember, just go onto the schedule and use that search function. You'll find the panel he's in. But yeah, so the X-Men panel probably won't be super crowded, but Jim Lee is next, so it will be crowded. But again, that's 2,000 people, and I know that Jim Lee can fill up a 1,000-seat room, but can he fill up a 2,000-seat room?
And I don't know. I know that I keep saying nighttime stuff is never that hard to get into. I don't know, guys. I feel like if anything could beat that rap, it might be Welcome to Derry. It is huge. First of all, they're going to show I did not even think we were going to get it at this convention because it didn't come out till the fall. So I was like, that's too far away. They're not going to do anything. But here we are. So I don't know if I wanted to get into that, I would probably be there an hour early for that. But I might be overestimating on that one.
I mean,
am I imagining this? But didn't Skybound say that Robert Kirkman was going to be doing one of the Straw Hat Goofy live shows? Does he have more than one panel?
He's
moderating something. Yeah.
Okay. I could have sworn that Robert Kirkman was. He's not listed on this one, but
he's moderating One Piece and the Blumhouse Five Nights at Freddy's. So he's Straw Hats all over the place.
All right.
So maybe Kirkman is on this one, and Skybound just gave up the secret sauce.
Maybe check our Skybound post. I think it was on that.
So there's just a lot of good stuff in this room this day, and there's going to be a lot of turnover, except for like I said, those two panels in the middle, Mark's panels. But I don't know if anything's going to be just massively overcrowded. So I don't know if you need to really, unless there's 5,000 Billy Zane fans at Comic-Con this year and they all go to this.
We all come out of the woodwork.
Okay. Well, we have just alerted them all that he's on this panel.
Yeah. So, I just, the main ones are Quick Draw and Cartoon Voices. If you want to see one of those, be there early. If you want to see Cartoon Voices, you have to get there before Quick Draw because almost no one leaves.
Yeah. Why would they?
Right.
It's a little double shot of entertainment right there.
Yeah. All right.
Moving on next. We've got Indigo Ballroom. Indigo Ballroom is over at the Hilton Bayfront. And it holds about 2,663 more or less folks. And they are starting off the morning at 10 a.m. with real stories, real people. Why representation matters in film. Matters.
Your audio is being a little weird again.
It's really weird.
All you got to do is basically stop talking for a second and start again, and then it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
How's
fine.
this? Okay. Real stories, real people. Why representation in film matters, which it's kind of all in the title right there. It's going to be talking to some CEOs. I did notice that comedian and actor Al Madrigal is going to be in there from The Daily Show. And George Gutierrez, who's the creator of Book of Life. But they're all going to be talking about why representation matters. After that, at 11:15 to 12:15, it's ABC's Abbott Elementary, and this has almost everybody listed. Quinta Brunson, Lisa Ann Walter, Tyler James Williams, everybody, Cheryl Lee Ralph. But they're going to be screening a fan favorite episode from season 4, and they also do mention a behind the scenes conversation about what makes the winning comedy an A+ hit. After that, do I still sound bad?
No, not to me.
Okay. After that, from 12:30 to 1:30, ABC is staying in the room. They're bringing out the rookie, Nathan Fillion, which it would be a weird year if we didn't see Nathan Fillion. He's going to be talking with creator and executive producer Alexi Hawley, behind the scenes look at the rookie. After that, it's Paradise, 145 to 245. Sterling K. Brown and Dan Fogelman, who is the creator and executive producer of Paradise. They're going to reflect a little bit about the first season of the Hulu show and talk about what's up for season 2. After that, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., Stars, a return to ancient Rome with Spartacus, House of Ashur. It's going to be a first look with the cast and the creator. Bram McTavish is going to be on this, Jamaica Vaughn, Nick Tarabay. And after that, keeping sort of with the same theme, from 4:15 to 5:15, Farewell to Blood of Zeus, Season 3 recap. This is the Netflix show, Farewell to Blood of Zeus. They're going to be talking with the producer, supervising director, episodic director, and composer. Whole lot of people, whole lot of folks on this, including the cast members, Jason O'Mara and Cissy Jones. After that, at 5:30 to 6:30, this is a Mad TV Rewind. Mad Rewind, conversations with the cast and crew. Phil Lamar is going to be talking with Deborah Wilson, Brandy Stillwell, moderated by Kif Vanden Heuvel. All about Mad TV, legendary comedy show. And then rounding out the day from 6:45 to 7:45 was one of the bigger surprises, the Tiny Chef show. Tiny Chef team is here to spill the tea. So it's going to have the co-director or co-creator and director, the voice of Tiny Chef, director of photography. They're all going to be talking about Tiny Chef, the social, the connection with the social media content, and some behind-the-scenes footage. I'm hoping they bring out a tiny little table and chair and placard.
And a little placard, yeah.
I know this was one of the more surprising things that we saw.
I was shocked.
It feels wholesome and exciting.
The timing is perfect. I'm like, Tiny Chef is like massive. I was trying to explain this to my girlfriend yesterday because she was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "We're on very different parts of the internet."
Yeah. I feel like
I was like,
"Don't know it by
huge.
name." Yeah, if you don't know it by name, you've seen it. Like you've seen memes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Unless you're my girlfriend. Yes. So I think the biggest problem of this day is for sure going to be Abbott. It was packed to the gills last year. It's going to be packed to the gills this year.
I think that the folks who do the programming are obviously very strategic about putting something in front of it, that can entertain people before it happens and having it be fairly early in the day.
For sure. So if you wanted to make it in for Abbott, honestly, it starts at 11. I would probably be in line no later than 9 a.m.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking closer to 8. Make sure you get in there and get a really good seat.
Yeah, I mean, I think 8 is probably smarter as well. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to be there for Abbott, again, that's like the very latest I would be there. Because that's going to be huge. I don't know that anything else is packed to the gills. I would say for all of these, show up 30 to 45 minutes beforehand if you're worried. Like Nathan Fillion definitely still draws a crowd, but I think a lot of people will clear out after Abbott. Paradise, I love that show, and I think Sterling K. Brown is a big draw, but I don't know how many other people feel that way.
If it was Sterling K. Brown talking only about his holiday commercials for that jewelry company where he was doing all that dancing, if he was doing a panel about that, I would definitely want to be there.
Paradise is way better than that. That's okay. Good to know. And then I don't know. Again, I would not count out Tiny Chef. It's later.
No.
it's 6:45, and again, like usually by like the end of the day, everybody's exhausted, everybody's starving and wants to eat real food that's not like a hot dog or convention center nachos. But I think this is a big deal. So again, I would probably show up like 45 minutes early if I wanted to make sure that I made it in for Tiny Chef.
Do you think they could have done Tiny Chef in one of the larger rooms over at the convention center? Do you think it's going to make people not come over just because if they're not already at the Indigo Ballroom?
I think it might. I don't know that I feel like Tiny Chef could have like filled Ballroom 20. So I actually think Tiny Chef is well placed here in Indigo. Good job, panel programming department. But yeah. Do you want to read that comment, James? Or was that just for us?
Yeah. Clone Tommy in the chat says tiny name placard is a great idea.
Yes. Tiny. Please make that happen.
Yes.
I think that over in Indigo, if you're a fan of something and there is nothing else on your schedule, 100% you make the trek over there, even if you're tired. It's the kind of thing where I made it over there for like 8 o'clock panels because it was something I was a fan of, and it didn't matter, that it was 8 o'clock. It's like I got to go get that panel in because when else am I going to see that panel? So I don't think I don't think if there's enough people out there who want to see this will be a very popular panel.
I think so too. And as always, like keep an eye on social media, like during the convention, like people will absolutely be posting like line updates, things like that. So just keep an eye on that. If there's something that you're interested in, but you're not totally sure what time to line up, because things are more popular than we think.
And like Hall H, Indigo is its own ecosystem. It's its own line. It has its own thing going on. So you can pay very close attention to what's going on in that room and have a very good idea of what the room flow is like. So it's a very easy room to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Okay, so let's move on to my room, Ballroom 20.
And when you say your room, you mean you're going to be there all day.
I'm going to be there all day, but I mean, like, Ballroom 20 is where it's at. You kids can keep your Hall H. So things kick off at 10 a.m. for Bob's Burgers, which finally gets an upgrade. It's been at Indigo for so many years. And like Abbott, it's like completely packed that room. Like you have to wait hours in line. So I think this is a great move to put it over here in Ballroom 20. But that has basically the whole cast with H. John Benjamin, John Roberts, Kristen Shaw, Eugene Miram, Dan Mintz, and Larry Murphy. And then at 11 a.m., it is Futurama, again, with a ton of the cast, including Billy West, Lauren Tom, Phil Lamar, David Herman, and Maurice LaMarche. Plus, it says plus prizes, which is basically usually Matt Growing will like have drawings. And like, if you ask a question, he'll like rip one out and give it to you. And then at 11:45 is The Simpsons, which sees Matt Growing back, as well as it says surprise guest. This one does not list any cast. And then at 12:45 is American Dad, with Wendy Shaw, Scott Grimes, Dee Bradley Baker, and Jeff Fisher. At 1:30 p.m. is Family Guy with Alex Borstein, who sang last year, Seth Green, Jennifer Tilley, and Mike Henry. And then at 2:30 p.m. is Entertainment Weekly's Brave Warriors, which is the dreaded TBA. But basically, that is Entertainment Weekly's annual panel on male actors doing like cool, usually like fight kind of stuff. At 3:30 p.m. is the return of Ghosts. This year, the cast members in attendance are Utkarsh Ambudkar, Danielle Pinnock, Asher Grodman, Devin Chandler Long, and more. And then from 4:30 to 6 o'clock is the Anne Rice Immortal Universe, which is just like last year, a double panel, which will be Talamasca, an interview with a vampire. The description on Comic-Con site does not list cast, but we do know the cast, which for Talamasca is Nicholas Denton, William Fitchner, Celine Buckins, and Maisie Richardson Sellers. And even though it does not list Elizabeth McGovern, they literally posted a video today of her being like, see you at Comic-Con. So I'm like, I feel like she's going to be there. And then for interview, it is the composer Daniel Hart, as well as showrunner Roland Jones, cast members Sam Reed, Jacob Anderson, Eric Bogosian, plus a few surprises. Roland Jones told me like a month ago that we should probably expect some casting news at a Comic-Con. So I think there should be some fun surprises there.
Mm.
And then the room closes for a little bit while they reset to have the masquerade that evening at 8:30 p.m., which this is the annual cosplay competition, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
I'll let back to the cast announcements that you think might be hip, or there was an announcement. Do you think that particular person might show up?
For interview?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we are very likely to get the new cast members. I think a lot of people right now are upset about a certain cast member not being on this list. But I'm like, if you watch the show, he ended the season in hiding. Like, this is Comic-Con. Why would you announce like they're going when you could like bring them out on the stage? So I would just not give up hope yet for those people. So this is gonna be a really packed room all day.
Yep.
Bob's is gonna fill it up immediately, and then I mean some of those people will leave. But it's all animation for the first half of the day. A lot of those people will stay for that.
Yes.
A lot of the ghost people are going to camp out there all day. A lot of the interview people are going to camp out there all day. So I think this is just a very packed room. If I wanted to make it in, I would show up at minimum 2 hours before. At minimum. For anything in this room. And honestly, for Bob's, I would show up even earlier. Like, I would say be in line by like 7.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting with all of the campers who will be there for the later panels and all of the people who want to see Bob.
Exactly. Because there's people like me who will be sitting there all day for something later in the day. So,
yeah. And so for, even though we are suggesting getting there around 2 hours before for anything, just remember that if you do try and get to something, if you see someone post that Ballroom 20 is half empty and you think, oh, that means I can get there when my panel starts, always get there about a half hour before your panel because of the way the line works, where you have to go further away and then back in, and then they may stop you for a while. And just make sure you get in. It's a half hour that you should make sure you're there, just to give yourself that time.
Yes. And somebody brought up a good point. Do we still need tickets? There are still tickets. Free tickets are given out at noon on Saturday near Ballroom 20. But I have heard, I heard somebody say last year they literally just walked in. So it may not be quite as popular as it used to be.
Yeah, again, the tickets are just for if you want to make sure you're guaranteed it in case that it is a little bit more popular than ever for a specific year.
And don't forget that they do have the simulcast in other rooms as well. So if Ballroom 20 is filled up and you forgot to grab a ticket, you can always still go watch it in there.
Right.
Okay, let's move on to Hall H.
Hall H on Saturday. First up at 10 a.m., Coyote versus Acme. There's redacted things in here, I guess, for fun, because they just didn't really want to say what they're doing. There will be a Q&A. They will have footage, and there will be a giveaway. And if you're a Roadrunner, don't bother showing up. They won't let you in. That's about all that we know.
There's a giveaway.
That's right. I said that. There's a giveaway.
Okay.
But I think the no Roadrunners is the important part, though. That's the most important.
All right. Got it.
At 11:15, we have DreamWorks Animation's The Bad Guys 2. This will be filmmakers and stars, none of who are listed. And it is moderated by Kevin McCarthy. If you don't know what this is, then this is a sit-through panel for you.
It was some good people on the cast. Let's be fair here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are our possibilities?
We don't know who is coming, but the movie has Sam Rockwell, Mark Maron, Craig Robinson, Anthony Ramos, Awkwafina, Danielle Brooks. Danielle Brooks is there anyway for Peacemaker, so I'm fairly certain she will be on the panel.
There you go.
Natasha Lyonne, and more. So,
I'm sorry, but that's like a great group of people.
It is.
Alex
really-
Borstein in it. She's also obviously in town for Family Guy. So yeah.
So it could be very exciting.
There could be some really good people on this panel. Let's not like poo-poo it immediately.
It'll be fun. You'll get to see some cool stuff. I mean, the stuff they're going to show is going to be fun. I'm sure it's a fun movie. It's just a Saturday is not necessarily the audience.
This for sure feels more like what would normally be Thursday Hall H. Yes.
Yeah. At 12:30 to 2, so they get an hour and a half. It is the Star Trek universe, and they will be talking about Strange New Worlds and Starfleet Academy, plus other exclusive first looks, reveals, and surprises. And they always do bring out a good selection of cast and creators for these, so expect some fun stuff.
I think we know the cast. Hold on. I swear we know the cast.
The Star Trek panel is well attended, so
yes. For Strange New Worlds, it's Rebecca Romijn, Ethan Peck, Jess Bush, Christina Chong, and Paul Wesley. And then for Starfleet Academy, it's Holly Hunter, Sandra Rosta, Karam Diane, Carrie Sprooks, George Hawkins, and Bella Shepherd. So what that does mean, though, is that Anson Mount is not there. No captain.
Then at 2:15, Project Hail Mary with Phil Lord and Christopher Miller and Ryan Gosling, Drew Goddard, and Andy Weir, showing us some. I think they're showing us some early stuff from the movie. They're basically going to be talking. But that's a really good lineup. You have obviously one of the hottest actors around right now, but also Drew Goddard, a mainstay in genre filmmaking. Lord and Miller.
Lord and Chris Miller, yeah, that's huge.
And the author, Andy Weir, who has done multiple movies now that have done really well. So this is going to be a big panel. And then at 3:30, Peacemaker, sneak peek and panel, which is James Gunn and John Cena, Danielle Brooks, Jennifer Holland, Freddie Stroma, Steve Agee, Frank Grillo, Saul Rodriguez, and Tim Meadows all showing up to promote season 2 of Peacemaker. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
At 4:45, we have Entertainment Weekly's Bold School with the always dreaded TBA. And so it's basically just people will show up who probably are at Comic-Con anyway. That's usually what it is.
And this one is usually more like power players within Hollywood. So it's usually like directors or I think one year it was Charlize Theron, I think. But yeah, Yeah. But it's usually more like influential, high up kind of people for this one.
Then at 5:45 is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Infinity Castle. And this is a very popular anime, and it will be doing some exclusive footage. And I'm not sure if there's anything else that's going to be happening, but
it says special guests from Japan, so there will at least be some panelists. Yeah.
And then starting at 7:15 for an hour and a half, or basically until they kick him out, is an evening with Kevin Smith, which is Kevin Smith doing Kevin Smith things, which is basically you ask him a question and he tells 82 stories and one other person gets to ask a question. And that's about it.
And then you go home.
That's it in Hall H. So Hall H on Saturday has some very big stuff, but it's not a Marvel year. So that means you're going to be able to make it in here to see the thing you want without having to wait for 2 days. I foresee this being very, very well attended, but honestly, I mean, if you want to guarantee a seat in here and you're planning to stay all day, just wait for a wristband at night and then go back to your hotel and sleep and show up again in the morning, because there's no reason to sleep overnight. There's no reason to wait a really long time for any of these. You'll get in if you get a wristband.
And if you don't even want to get a wristband or sitting here all day, like let's say I just want to go to like Project Hail Mary or Peacemaker, I think you could also theoretically get in line like 2 or 3 hours before. Now, I would definitely not wait until like right before. There have certainly been occasions before where like they've stood outside and said like Hall H is a walk-in, like walk right in. But those are usually few and far between. And these days, like with their god-awful security process, which I hope changes this year, with like the bag scan and all the other things, like it just
And having
takes
to
so
go
much
all the way
longer.
around to join the
What
line.
I mean by the god-awful thing
Yeah,
last year.
all that.
Why did we block that off? Like that was so dumb. Let's not do that this year, please. But yeah, it just takes so much longer to get into Hall H than it does anywhere else. So just like pad the time for all that extra nonsense, like to do all that.
So if you want to see Star Trek or Project Hail Mary, definitely be there at the beginning of Bad Guys.
Yeah.
If you want to see Peacemaker, be there at the beginning of Bad Guys, because everyone else will be filling up the room for those other two things, and you want to make sure you get your spot.
Yeah,
Peacemaker, I think, is going to be one of the things that may pack the room the most.
Oh, absolutely. It's first of all, it's James Gunn and John Cena. Like that alone, like they could be there to not talk about Peacemaker, and that would pack the room.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people will go just in the hopes that they do some kind of surprise for the DC movies. And even though they've said they won't, and it's only about Peacemaker, you still never know.
Someone to ask a question, and like James Gunn will answer it. So yeah.
But then the later stuff, Bold School will be not well attended. People will be using it to go and get snacks. But depending on who they announce for it, if they announce some big names, then it will keep people in seats. Demon Slayer, I have no idea how popular that is. But I don't
either, but I feel like it's not 6,500 popular. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Is there anyone from Coyote versus Acme that would necessitate wanting to get there? Like the possibilities for that particular one, are they miraculous? I know I keep seeing Will Forte, and I would line up for Will Forte personally, but I'm wondering.
Well, so we know for a fact some of the people who are going, because when they first posted the autograph list, it literally listed who was going, which is director Dave Green, producer Chris DeFaria, and star Will Forte. So yeah, Will Forte is definitely there. Mm-hmm. It does say more to be announced. So other options include John Cena, which he is very clearly in town, so that feels like a possibility. And more like Lana.
So
I don't think anybody else other than John Cena would like pack that room.
If you're interested in Demon Slayer and you want to make sure you get a seat, I would show up before Peacemaker lets out, so you don't have to deal with that crowd. Get yourself into line, and you should be fine getting through whatever line there is and then getting into the room. You'll have to wait through the panel before, but it's only a 45-minute panel, and then you'll get your Demon Slayer. So I would not, I mean, it's risky trying to show up during Bold School because you're going to deal with the crowd coming out of Peacemaker, and that's always going to be a hassle to get through. So if you get there before Peacemaker lets out, you avoid that mess.
Agreed. Yeah, as with everything, just add whatever time you think, like for a normal room, I would add like 30 to 60 minutes extra for Hall H, just because it's such a hassle to get in and out of there.
And Kevin Smith doesn't fill up. It is crowded, but it does not fill up. So if you want to just be in the room, you're good to go showing up half an hour before. Up to 60 minutes.
Okay. So before we dive into our dark horse picks for the day, let's just talk about general thoughts about the Saturday schedule. James, do you want to kick us off?
It's a good schedule. It doesn't have any bangers like a Marvel Studios panel, but it has a lot of good panels spread out through all the rooms. I think it's there's one of the rooms, one of the sixes, I think, when I was looking at it, was like, this is one that you can sit through all day and have a good time seeing all the panels. There's a few like that where you can sit through a majority of the day and have fun. So I think it's a good schedule.
I think so too. I think Indigo is going to be packed most of the day. I know Ballroom 20 is going to be packed most of the day. And I mean, again, I think Hall H will be well attended most of the day. So it's always, I've seen a lot of people being like, the floor is going to be so busy on Saturday. And it might be, but I really think like there's enough good stuff like around that like people will be well distributed.
Yeah. The panels, there's enough good panels throughout that even if the people aren't waiting in line for Hall H, that a lot of them will be in Hall H, because there's a lot of people who go to Hall H just because it's Hall H. And then those people for the Hall H stuff, they'll be going to the other rooms to see things that they normally can't see on a Marvel year. Like, well, I can finally go see the Bob's panel or the stuff that's in Indigo.
Elementary. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there will be lots of people moving around, and then the offsites will take people as well. Be like, oh, I don't have to go to Hall H. I can finally go to see an offsite this year. Things like that. So the floor will be packed. Don't disagree with that at all. It will be packed, but it won't be like
bumper
oh my
to
God,
bumper,
we have to
like
shut down the floor and stop people from going kind of a situation.
Yes, agreed. Okay, so let's move on to our dark horse picks, which are panels that we like in smaller rooms. Erin, why don't you kick us off?
Yes, I picked something that sounds so fun to me. A flash of creativity, draw with the Flash Gordon Adventure artists. Flash Gordon Adventures is a fairly new title. Art Baltazar and Franco are doing like this all ages Flash Gordon. It's Flash and like all his friends. And they're going to be talking about they're going to be doing a drawing workshop and teaching people how to draw Flash Gordon and all his friends. If you know anything about Art and Franco, they are very, very entertaining. They're very family friendly. If you have zero artistic skills, it's okay. You're still going to like get something out of this. I think this one is going to be a lot of fun. Moderated by one of the Paper Cuts editors, Mike Martz. It's a great book series. So highly recommend that one.
James, do you want to go?
Sure. Mine is in room 26AB at 8:30 p.m. It's one of those nighttime ones that maybe you just really want to go, and I think this is a good reason to go. It is Reniculous Cage, Bad Medicine in Nick Cage Films. And it's the Bad Medicine podcast discussing the unbearable weight of medical mix-ups. This year, they're focusing on the injuries and maladies seen in Nicolas Cage films, from The Rock to Ghost Rider to Renfield. This just seems like a lot of fun. So if you're like me and you think that really fun, dumb stuff like this is interesting, head for room 26AB at 8:30 at night. Let's go get dinner and then come back and enjoy yourself. Come on. You know you want to.
Are they the same folks that did the Sean Bean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Bad Medicine. We know them. They do a panel like this every year. Them and the Legal Geeks always put on such fun panels. So yeah, I highly recommend either of those. My dark horse pick is Usagi Yojimbo over at 10 a.m. in room 23 ABC, which has the legendary Stan Sakai just talking about Usagi Yojimbo. Yeah, that should be a good time.
He's a great storyteller.
He is.
Damien had a question, or a comment. I really was hoping to get into Peacemaker. I was hoping the Trekkies would be leaving en masse to make room for it, but sounds like you think they'll stay. A lot of Trekkies will be leaving after the Star Trek panel, but remember, there's going to be a lot of people camping. There's going to be a lot of people sitting through to get to Peacemaker. So even if...
And Project Hail Mary as well, yeah.
Even if 3,000 Trekkies leave, that's only half the room. So just be prepared for the fact that in most cases, 6,000 people aren't leaving after Star Trek. So you need to plan for the fact that there may be only 1,000 to 3,000 seats available after that panel.
Basically, the real problem is that I don't think the majority of people will leave after Project Hail Mary, like between that and Peacemaker. I think if you're there for Project Hail Mary, you're probably going to stay for James Gunn. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you definitely need to make sure that you're in that room before Project Hail Mary. So, but yeah, I mean, the good news is that if the Star Trek people leave, as long as you're there like in time to get in during that wave, you're probably okay.
Okay. Are we ready to start in on Sunday?
Yeah, let's do Sunday. This one's going to be real short.
Okay. Yeah, because we have which rooms close? We have Ballroom 20 closes and Indigo. Closes. Okay. So we have fewer rooms to go through. On Sunday, room 7AB, seats around 480. We are kicking off at 10 a.m. with Pop Culture and the Christian Church. This is organized by the Christian Comic Arts Society, exploring the effectiveness of the Christian Church and reaching out to comic book and other communities. Features a bunch of people from those groups. We have 11 a.m., Star Trek The Next Frontier. And this is talking about IDW, talking about Star Trek comics with a bunch of their creators, like Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, Christopher Cantwell, and more. At noon, we have American Caper, a new crime comic from Grand Theft Auto series writers. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It's called American Caper, and it's a new crime universe and it features people like Laszlo and David Lapham and Chris Anderson and Shelley Bond. So this one looks like it's going to be pretty cool. Those are people who know what they're doing. At 1 p.m., we have VAM PD, new podcast from Big Finish, and this stars Juliet Landau, who you may remember from Buffy and Angel, along with Alimi Ballard and Mara Wilson, who was in Mrs. Doubtfire and Matilda. And this will be a new audio drama from Big Finish. Then at 2 p.m., we have Cover Story, which is a comic-based panel moderated by Mark Evanier. And this year, he's getting Jim Lee, Rich Hoberg, Michael Cho, and Dan Jurgens to talk about creating comic covers. Then Mark sticks around to do Business of Cartoon Voices at 3 o'clock. He's got voice actors Caitlin Robrock and Fred Tatasciore and Agent Julie Thompson talking all about getting a job as a voice actor. At 4 p.m., Pros and Cons, How Should Society Punish Supervillains? This is one of those, just a bunch of very smart people talking about Arkham Asylum and mental health care. It's a long list of people with a long list of... a
lot of academics.
A lot of academics, yeah. And that's it. Because the convention closes at 5, so it's also 2 hours shorter. So fewer panels, fewer rooms. What do we think? Cover Story has some really good names on it in a 500-seat room. And if you haven't been able to see like Jim Lee or someone in the whole weekend, this is your last chance, and so you may go here.
I agree. I think that's the room to beat, especially because there's not a ton of other options on Sunday. So yeah, I think a lot of comics fans will definitely be heading for Cover Story. So if you wanted to make it in for that, I would honestly I would go sit through. I would get there sometime during American Caper, personally.
Yep. And if you're a Buffy and Angel fan, you want to see Juliet Landau, definitely get there also during American Caper.
Yeah.
And Mara Wilson.
Yeah.
It's Matilda.
Yeah. That's a bigger draw for some of us. All right. Let's move on to room 6DE.
Yes,
Aaron.
room 6DE. That one holds 884 people. They are starting out the day at 10 a.m. with the Cartoonist Club. That's going to be Scott McCloud and Raina Telgemeier. And if you think you don't know Raina's work, I assure you, you most likely do. She's one of the greatest best-selling authors, graphic novelists, Smile, and the Babysitter's Club. So yeah, it's a great, and that one's kid-friendly too, very, very family-friendly. After that, from 11:15 to 12:15, is what was a huge surprise is the Lawrence Brothers Detective Agency, and coinciding with their Kickstarter launch, the television Lawrence Brothers, that includes Joey, Matt, and Andrew, are going to be talking about their first graphic novel called the Lawrence Brothers Detective Agency. So yeah, and that is Joey Lawrence that you're thinking of, yes. From 12:30 to 1:30, Greg Weisman and his Spectacular Friends. Greg's the one behind a lot of really great animated series like Disney Gargoyles, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Young Justice. And he's going to be bringing some friends in, including artist Sean Cheeks Galloway. And they're going to be talking, and it says possibly some special voice actors too. After that, at 1:45 to 2:45, from indies to blockbusters, the power of equity in storytelling. This is another one that's going to be talking about how folks have made their way through Hollywood and talking a little bit about equity and how we can all make a difference by giving voice to the underrepresented folks, and making everything a little bit more inclusive. After that, from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., Z2 is bringing in Gwar, the return of Gorgor. There's going to be some folks from the band Gwar. Rance Hosley, the Z2 editor-in-chief, he's going to be there talking about it, moderated by Ryan J. Downey of MTV News. It says it promises to be a repulsive and joyful event. And that's it for that room.
So this room seats 884. Do we think anything fills up this room?
And I mean, unless all the Joey Lawrence fans of Comic-Con all descend on the Lawrence brothers one,
which they might. Who knows?
They could. They definitely could. I don't see anything else really filling it up.
I don't either. I mean, I think Gwar is pretty cool. Basically, the two Z2 comics, I think, are both pretty cool. But it's Sunday. A lot of people want to use that time to be on the floor or, trying to finish up some offsites. So, I don't know. I just don't think anything in here is going to be hard to get into. So.
I agree.
Don't be surprised if they are fairly crowded. There may be a lot of animation fans who want to see what Greg Weisman is cooking up next. And
our chat seems very into Gwar. So, who knows?
Who knows? If you're worried, just keep an eye on social media.
Yep. All right, so let's jump over to room 6A, which again holds a little over 1,000. So things kick off at 10:30 a.m. with the Disney Plus series Amphibia with its creator Matt Braley talking about that, as well as the new graphic novel continuation, Strange Voyages. At 11:45 is Cartoon Voices 2, which is the second version of that same panel from Mark Evanier. This version has Michael Scott Action, Caitlin Robrock, Vincent Martella, Abby Trott, Gabe Kunda, Maurice LaMarche, and of course, your moderator, Mark Evanier. At 1:30 p.m. is a conversation or an afternoon with George Takei, where basically it's going to be him talking about stories throughout his life, as well as his new memoir, They Called Us Enemy, and more. And then we close out with I think this is the 36th annual Starship Smackdown, which is basically a bunch of nerds, including Ronald D. Moore, of Battleship Galactica, For All Mankind, Star Trek First Contact, etc. fame. But basically it's just a bunch of nerds talking nerdy things. So they'll bring up a topic and battle it out. So yeah. This one, it's always fun though. It's a good time.
And they give it 2 hours.
2 hours. They got to get through a lot of battles. That's a lot of battles. A lot of people need to have their opinion heard.
Yes. Okay, so again, this room seats about 1,000 on Sunday. What fills up the room? I think, again, Cartoon Voices, always well attended. I would show up at least 90 minutes early for that one, honestly. I think George Takei will also be very well attended. I think he can absolutely fill a room of 1,000 people. So I don't know. If I wanted to go for that, honestly, I would be in there at the start of the day, because if you're in the room for Cartoon Voices, why would you leave if that's the next panel?
Yeah.
Truly. And then I think you won't have any problem getting into Starship Smackdown at all.
But the starships, they're getting smacked down.
Getting smacked down. That's right. All right. 6 BCF. Aaron, take it away.
That is me. Yeah, 6 BCF. 2,160 people can fit in this. The first one they're starting out with at 10:30, from 10:30 to 11:30 in the morning, is the Impact, Legacy, and Future of Choose Your Own Adventure. These are the classic Choose Your Own Adventure paperbacks. They have continued to make them. There's a whole new series of them that have been coming out. That's really, really exciting. So they're going to be talking about the old ones and the new ones. At 11:45 to 12:45, it's 30 Years of Xena, the Warrior Princess. This is a fan appreciation panel, and it does say cast and crew reunite on a nostalgic journey. It doesn't mention any of the cast and crew, so we're not sure about that yet. But it's also going to be talking about the LGBT community support that the show has had for the last 3 decades. From 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., Andreas Deha. Am I saying that right? James, you probably know better. 30 years of Disney villains. If there has been a good villain that you've liked from Disney, Andreas has probably had their hands on it. A lot of work with
Scar,
Jafar,
Gaston.
Scar, all the good ones. And some of the voice actors, Jim Cummings, who does Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and Darkwing Duck, is going to be there, and Chris Sanders, Lilo Stitch, and the Wild Robot also going to be there. 2:15 to 3:15, Middle Earth: The Adventure Ahead. This will be a panel from OneRing.net is going to be talking about the future of Middle Earth with some of the other Middle Earth enterprises, and What a Workshop also going to be there. So just kind of covering everything across the Lord of the Rings landscape. And after that, at 3:30 to 5 p.m., it is the yearly Buffy Once More with Feeling interactive Whedonverse musical. With audience participation, highly encouraged. And that's it for the day.
So does anything fill this up? I say no.
I mean, unless they were going to announce that, everyone from Xena's coming.
Right. Yeah.
I will say this does feel like a large room for if truly just a fan panel. So
Yeah.
I could absolutely see cast showing up for that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if they
And
bring
it
in
says
Lucy
the cast and
Lawless,
crew reunite. So yeah.
Yep.
And the Disney panel, if there's enough Disney fans with nothing to do, that will get a lot of people, because obviously a Disney Legend animator, a Disney Legend voice actor, and the guy who created Lilo and Stitch and voices Stitch all in the room at the same time should be pretty fun.
Yeah.
And there's going to be other people there as well that helped on Deha's own animation project. So there will be more people, but those are the 3 big names.
For sure. Well, if worried about any of those, I would basically just show up 30, 40 minutes before.
Yeah, I'm going to say 20 minutes. 20 minutes to get to everything and have a nice comfy seat and not worry about it.
There you go. All right. Well, Indigo, as we mentioned before, has nothing because it is closed. Ballroom 20 also has nothing because it is closed. And it's basically because, it takes too long, to reset. Yeah.
And it takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of manpower to staff those rooms.
Yes. All right. So that leaves us with Hall H, which is open for the first time in
a long
3
time.
years.
Has it been open since we got back from COVID?
That's it.
On Sunday?
Maybe it hasn't.
It might not.
Somebody in the chat will know. They'll tell us.
So, Oodles of Revenge says Lucy Lawless is in the Spartacus panel the day before.
We'll
There
see.
you go. There you go.
Then it makes me wonder why not just put her name in it?
Okay, their Hall H was for sure open in 2022 because I have in our highlights post written down that this was Funko's first appearance.
Okay,
Hall H appearance.
Right.
Okay, I do remember that.
And then not after that.
Right, because that was the year they were supposed to give those pops away, but
they did, didn't they? No, I think they did.
Wasn't there a specific the rumor of the Ahsoka pop and?
Oh, that was there. There was only 500 of them though. So
there were only a small number.
A whole bunch of 3 or 4 of them, and then 500 each of 3 other ones that were really hard to get.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, what
okay.
is in Hall H?
Yes. Hall H.
just time to because there is one panel in Hall H on Sunday, and it is Sneak Peek, Lucas Museum of Narrative Art, legendary filmmaker George Lucas, Academy Award-winning director Guillermo del Toro, and Academy Award-winning artist Doug Chiang explore the power of illustrated storytelling and offer a sneak peek of the Lucas Museum, narrated by Grammy, Emmy, Academy Award nominated, and Golden Globe Award-winning artist Queen Latifah. This is a pretty fun panel. I mean, obviously with Lucas, but just the fact that Queen Latifah is the moderator, we got Guillermo del Toro to come in and help talk. I mean, you got George, and then you've got, foul-mouthed Guillermo. I mean, how are they going to mix, right? What's the mix here? Anyway, this is going to be fun. This is going to be packed. This is crazy. Honestly, I don't know.
It's so hard to guess on this one because the thing is I know he's talking about the museum, but that's so different than Marvel coming and being like, here's our upcoming slate. Here's all these teases about these movies. The draw is basically, it's George Lucas. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Guillermo del Toro is amazing. Queen Latifah is amazing. Those are some huge names, but are the names of that enough to have people? I mean, there will for sure be some people camping out because it's Comic-Con, but is it enough to be Marvel Hall H levels of insane? And I don't know. It's Sunday, so there's also not a lot else to draw people away. So it may just be that people are well, I don't have anything else to do on Sunday, so why not go to this? And that could drive extra people there. I don't know. I feel I have no idea on this one.
It is.
I mean, I think Star Wars fans will want to attend because being able to say you're in the room with George Lucas, that just doesn't come around.
It's huge. Yeah,
never
at his first ever
Comic-Con. He's never been to Comic-Con. So saying you were in the room when he was there for the very first time is going to be something to talk
truly
about.
think this more than any other panel of the week, you need to pay attention to social media. You need to pay attention to when the Hall H line, folks on Twitter and other people say how far down the marina is that line as of Saturday? How far are they on wristbands Saturday night? And that's another good point, which is go get your wristband. And then again, the way that the wristbands work is if you get a wristband, if you do not want to stay in that line, you don't care where you sit, you can leave and you just have to come back by 7:30 a.m. and you can rejoin the end of the wristbanded lines and you are all but guaranteed to stay in. Now, you can also use line groups and have some of your group stay in line and hold your spot. But you have to have, for each person in line can hold spots for up to 2 additional people. So if you are a group of 10, then help me do math.
You need 4. 4
people. 4 people have to stay at all times,
I think. Yeah.
So yeah. So again, I think this panel truly more than anything, watch social media, because this is such a new thing. We have never, in my opinion, I mean, I know we had Funko, but I don't think we've ever had a panel of this caliber on Sunday. And so with this basically being the only option for the movie people, is it just insane? I don't know.
Right.
It's either going to be boiling hot or it's going to be tepid. It's going to be one of the two. It's going to be jam-packed or it's going to be...
I think it will be well attended no matter what. But to me, I'm is this if you are not in line by 9 p.m. on Saturday night, you're not getting in? Or is this you need to be there 2 hours before? And that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. And I would say, I think it's going to fall right in the line of a few thousand wristbands are going to get handed out. And then a bunch of people are going to show up when they realize that they can get in. A bunch of them are going to show up between 6 and 8 a.m. I think that's when they're seeing the social media posts and they'll be like, oh, wait, they only got to C, or they got to B and they barely get started C. Guess what? I can make it now. I have time. I can get in. Everyone's going to be showing up by 8 a.m. 9 a.m., right? Because it doesn't know it start until 11.
Yeah.
So I would say wake up at 6 a.m. if you're really worried. If you didn't go get a wristband, check social media and see whether or not you can go back to sleep or not.
Yep, I agree. So yeah, this is like the biggest wild card of the week for sure. I wish we had a better answer, but like I said, like this has never happened.
Yeah, so just pay attention. Keep an eye on Friday night or Saturday night and Sunday morning. Just pay attention, and you will be able to do other things and then mix this in if this is what you really want to do.
Okay.
I'm so curious to hear how he reacts to like the crowd.
He
seems so stoic.
So,
he seems just so like.
Yeah, that's why I think the most fascinating thing is going to be Lucas sitting next to Guillermo del Toro. They're like complete opposites. It's going to be awesome. Okay,
kids. TV Line now lists that there is, in fact, a Gen V panel on that Friday, 3:45 to 4:45 p.m. slot. So, somewhere, hopefully, that panel is actually being added to the schedule. But I am taking that as confirmation, and I'm going to write that up as soon as we get off this thing. So,
shout out to Kara, who did a lot of digging to try to figure out where are the holes.
That gif of Charlie from It Always Sunny, like with like the board of the map of the beds, like I think that was truly Kara. It was driving her insane yesterday, I could tell.
Yep. All right, some Dark Horse panels.
Before we do that,
let's talk about
answer questions and then talk about it overall. Yes. Question: the name of the panel for Lucas is Sneak Peek, Lucas Museum of Narrative Art. And if you have any other questions about other days, like Thursday or Friday, we have an entire other podcast you have to go and watch or listen to, where we will talk about stuff like the Tron panel. So go listen to that. Now, Carrie, what do you think about Sunday?
I mean, it's a pretty typical Sunday schedule. I'm never impressed with Sunday. I mean, the George Lucas thing is massive. That's huge. And I mean, like, there's some decent panels, but this is definitely not like the wall-to-wall conflicts and great panels that any other day is. It's a very typical Sunday, is what I will say.
It seems to be a very family-friendly Sunday.
Yeah,
for sure.
They like to make it that. I mean, that's one of the hallmarks of Sunday, isn't it?
Yes,
it is. Yes. I was also going to say, I feel like Saturday Hall H is also like super family friendly this year. Like it's like
there's mostly a lot of that.
There's a lot of it, yeah.
With a lot of it on a majority of it probably on Sunday.
Yeah. So again, I just think it's a very typical Sunday schedule. Also, how many cooking and
so many
panels did we get? Like 4?
At least
there's like a Pac-Man one. There's
Dungeons
Waltman. He brings that every year. Yeah, there were more. There was like a fandom and food. Yep. So many. Why did you put them all on Sunday?
Earlier in the week, I think what's her name, who was on British Bake Off, is like hosting a panel. Even
Kim
though
Joy?
Kim Joy, I don't even know if it's about cooking, but she's on a panel.
Honestly, my honest opinion is I think Kim Joy just likes Comic-Con. So I think she's just like wants to host a panel every year. I see her like every year. Yeah.
All right. Yes, I agree. It's a typical Sunday. There's some really good stuff. But it's more spread out. There's going to be fun things. If you want to sit through panels all day, you will be able to find fun, interesting panels all day. It's just there aren't as many of them, and there are fewer conflicts. Dark Horse time.
Yeah. I'll go first. Maybe. Am I in the right place? No, I'm not. Okay, so my Dark Horse is the most obvious Dark Horse, which is Comic-Con Talkback, which is basically where if you have a question, comment, or concern, you can go and present it to the higher-ups at Comic-Con. It's basically like a town hall. Like, picture the town halls in Parks and Rec, but with slightly less insane people. But this is basically your chance to like communicate directly with Comic-Con. Yeah, so that's 3:30 p.m. in room 25 ABC.
And sometimes that does fill up a lot. Some years it's more well attended than others. So
yes, it definitely gets a line. I would show up like an hour early. I mean, it's late enough in the day on Sunday. Like, where else you gotta be? Guar? Maybe you are.
Do more people attend that when they're angry, or do more people attend that when they have something that they?
I mean, I think people are far more likely to leave a question, comment, or concern when there's been an issue than they are to just be like, "Things were great, whatever." And I think that's true of anything, yes. Not just Comic-Con. No. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. Let's talk back.
To reference it, Oodles of Revenge referenced it last year, the Deadpool Wolverine thing. That brought a lot of people into talkback.
Yeah.
So, yeah, things like that will bring more people than usual.
Yes.
Erin, you want to go next?
Sure. I picked doing comics differently with Ignition Press. That's going to be from 11 to 12 in Grand 10 and 11 at the Marriott. And Ignition Press, if you haven't heard yet, it's a new comic book publisher by former head of Boom Studios, Philip Sablick, and also Jamie S. Rich. They are putting together a new publisher, planning on doing comics differently is what they're promising. They already have series announced from Jeremy Hahn, Colin Bunn, Stephanie Williams, Leah Williams, Tim Seeley. They're going to be introducing a lot of those at Comic-Con on their dedicated offsite, the Ignition Press room. This is just a panel where they're going to be talking. You know, if you didn't get a chance to visit the Ignition Press room, you'll get all the information here about how they're doing things differently.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Mine is in room 11 at 10 a.m. It is Paper Cuts, a Phineas and Ferb drawing workshop with John Green. And that is Mad Cave Studios and John Green, the artist on Phineas and Ferb graphic novels, is going to host a lively all-ages drawing workshop hosted by Paper Cuts, where you can learn how to draw these characters. I think that's pretty cool. And this kicks off like a string of like 3 or 4 panels in a row that are like learn to draw type panels that are very family friendly. I don't know if every panel in the room is family friendly, so make sure you check out what the content is before you sit through it. But yeah, there's like a few in a row where it's drawing, and I think that's really cool. And continuing on that, in room 3 at 4 p.m., so the last panel of the day, is how to draw an octopus. And I think this is funny because it is very specific, and cartoonist S.S. Julian and cartoonist Josu Cruz are joined by a biologist, Dana Staff, PhD, to make sure that they draw the octopus right.
That's incredible.
That is pretty funny.
I think it's pretty awesome. Room 3, 4 p.m.
I love what Paper Cuts is doing this year with all these drawing workshops.
Okay.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, that theoretically does it for our programming schedule. Again, there's absolutely some Amazon Prime ones that are missing. But as always, for any updates to the schedule, let's talk a little bit about how Sched works. So you can always head over to Sched and click like the new or the updated filters, and those will show you like exactly what has been changed. I wish the new did not include like the autographs, because I'm like, those aren't like they are, but they're not.
It's really weird because if you filter something, sometimes like if you filter by programs and then filter by day, it then goes by the day, but then everything is back in there, and it's not just programs. You have to redo programs.
Yeah, you can't like do 2 filters at once. I wish you could. But anyway, those are 2 great options. We've had a ton of questions today about like when will the Comic-Con app be live. It is typically live like here in the next couple days. It never goes up until the full schedule is out. But then it's usually live like somewhere between Monday to Wednesday. So just keep an eye out.
Yes. Also, the search function is very, very good. But I would be aware that certain things may cause it to mess up. So like if you're searching Tron Ares, let's say, be aware that that colon is very important. If it's in the wrong place where you put it, or if you don't put it, sometimes it may show up or it may not. So if you don't find something that you know is in there somewhere, try different versions of it. So like
It's
try
true,
Tron
it's
colon,
that's
or Tron Space colon, or just Ares. Maybe just try Ares. Who knows?
yeah, because it was bugging. I'm curious that because I gave that example because I was searching Tron and I was like, it does not come up because there's a colon. Yeah, so just please be aware of that. But honestly, like, even though we're making a little bit of fun, like, we love Sched. So incredibly happy that Comic-Con has brought Sched back for the last couple of years. So thank you, Comic-Con. We love Sched. So.
Yes. Okay, so we have one more podcast before Comic-Con, and that is on Tuesday, right?
It's on Tuesday. We're joined by 2 special guests. We will be joined by 1540 to talk about this year's Paramount Plus The Lodge, followed by Crunchyroll to talk about the Anime FanFest Music Festival, as well as a ton of Comic-Con news.
Oh, someone Caters just put Sophie's Choice in the chat. Would you trade Sched for carpeting?
I don't know, man. Like, I love the carpeting, but we had not Sched for like 2 years, and it sucked. They both suck.
It's tough. Tough.
Look, kids, I would get rid of Hall H and bring back both of those. My answer is no one else's.
That's awesome.
Oh, God.
That is funny. Oh, man.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Thank you all for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. And Aaron, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me everywhere at Bavarian Aaron. Carrie, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Carrie Dixon, if you can spell it. James, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I'm everywhere online at Dan Regal, except for Twitch and YouTube. I am the Dan Regal, and I'm also on Overexerted, a Disney Lorcana podcast. Thank you to Beth for editing this and getting it into your ears, and all the other things that get this podcast done.
I clearly do not have this pulled up.
We are on iTunes.
We're on iTunes if you'd like to subscribe. Links are up on the blog, or you can search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We are also on Stitcher Radio. The link is in the show notes. We also have a Patreon. If you appreciate the work that we do, all of the money from Patreon goes right back into things like giveaways for you guys or our gigantic hosting bill this time of year. So yeah, you can find the link to our Patreon on our sidebar, on our site.
There you go. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at info@sdccblog.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Thank you again for watching and listening, and everybody, which chef am I going to be following today?
Tiny one.